It's beginning to look a lot like roast beast. Let's smoke a rib roast and top it with some homemade horseradish creme fraiche. It's gonna be good. So what we have here is just over a 6-pound rib roast. If you're not familiar with what a rib roast is, this is the cut of meat that the ribeye steaks come from. It's just a giant uncut ribeye. So you will find when you pick these up from the grocery store, a lot of times if the bones have been removed, which you can see this is, the butcher is going to go ahead and truss it up. So what I like to do is remove this because I am going to dry brine this with some salt, and I want to make sure the salt has maximum coverage all over the meat. So I'm not only going to do the top, the sides, I'm also going to peel it back, and we're going to salt the inside in between the ribs and the meat. Step number 1, hit it with a copious amount of kosher salt. Don't be afraid. You can take a lot. I know it looks like a lot, but what this is going to do is going to hang out in my refrigerator overnight, and all this salt is going to get absorbed back into the meat. And that way you don't have to salt the meat at all, and it's going to make it taste fantastic. Next, get yourself some butcher's twine and cinch it back up. Got it on my tray. It's going to hang out in the refrigerator for 24 hours, and we'll pick this back up in the morning. While we're waiting for the rib roast to dry brine, got to make the creme fraiche. If you don't know what creme fraiche is, basically you're making a sour cream, but it's way better than the sour cream you can buy at the store. It's 2 ingredients, and it's super easy. First, you want to get some heavy cream. Next, you want about 1 to 2 tablespoons of buttermilk. Next, pop the top back on, and you are going to shake vigorously for about 15 to 20 seconds. Now, leave it sitting in a relatively warm place, sitting on the counter overnight. If you're going to use creme fraiche, you have to make it the night before you smoke your rib roast. So get started now. Just so you can see before and after, this is the before, so it's pretty liquid. And 24 hours later, you have creme fraiche. You can see how the meat has gotten more of a dark, deep red color. That is from the salt pulling out the moisture. The moisture dissolves the salt and then reabsorbs it back into the meat. First thing I like to do is add a little bit of grapeseed oil. You don't have to go crazy with it. This is simply something to make the rub stick. Step number 2, you want to hit it with some black pepper. I like using 16 mesh black pepper. Anything that you would normally season a steak with is going to work on this. You don't have to season the bone side. You're really not going to be using that. Come back with just a little bit of garlic powder. I've had this out of the refrigerator for about a half an hour. The pit is warmed up, so let's head out. I'm going to be running my pit today a little cooler than normal. I'm going to run it between 210 and 215. Doing the slow, low temps is going to help you get more of an even pink edge to edge when you cut this thing open, which is very pretty. If you cook it too hot a temperature, you can start to get some gray banding on the tops, on the edges, which it still tastes great. It just is more of a visual thing for me. So let's get this on the pit and get the probe in it. All right, I got my instant read thermometer. What I'm going to do is kind of measure to where the center of the meat is. I'm going to have my fingers pinched here. I'm going to stick it into the middle of the meat just until my fingers get there. That way I know I'm getting a temperature reading right dead center in the roast. So I'm going to let this go until we hit about 127 degrees internal. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to let it rest for 10 or 15 minutes. Then I'm going to bring it out to my charcoal grill, and I'm going to get a nice char on the outside of it, which really helps to enhance the flavor. Just past 125 degrees, I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing. I got my grill cranked up, direct heat charcoal. We're going to get a nice sear on it, and then we're going to take it in and slice it up. It's going to be good. This is the first time I'm opening this. Ooh, nice. You can see that nice mahogany color there. That is how you know you have done right. So we're going to go ahead and pull this tip out. I've let it rest down. Now it's time to put a sear on it. Gonna go 30 seconds to a minute per side. I'm just gonna freehand it. I got my heat resistant gloves here. You don't want to bring it all this way, put all this time and effort into it just to let it burn at this point. So it's real crucial that you keep a watch on this. Now I'm going to take this, squirt it into this bowl, get yourself some horseradish, just a splash of salt, and mix it in. Give it a taste and adjust as necessary. Ooh, that's good. Be careful with the horseradish. It can get overwhelming, and you can sometimes feel like you have fireballs wanting to shoot out of your nose. Just my little PSA. Here she is. A little bit over 3 hours, 3 hours and 15 minutes or so on the smoker. Let it rest down for about 5 minutes, then sear it off on the grill. If you don't have the grill or don't want to crank your grill up just to do that, you can get the same effect putting it under the broiler in your oven. Let's see what we got. First thing you want to do, go ahead and finish removing the bones. Little tip on these, save them the next day, throw them in the toaster oven, throw them in your oven under the broiler for just a few minutes, let them crisp up on top. Pitmaster's privilege. These things are awesome. Let's cut into this. There we go. Oh yeah. Edge to edge, keeping that pink. You don't want any kind of gray banding around here. If you cooked it too high, that can happen. So I'm really pleased with this. I'm gonna go ahead and get a slice of it and put some of this creme fraiche on it and see how it tastes. Here we go. Oh, wow. Every year I do this, and every year I think I should do this more often. There's no better bite when it comes to steak than this bite. If you do it right on the grill and on the smoker, you can't top it. The horseradish has a nice little punch to it. The meat is salted perfectly. That dry brine really does a number on the steak. If you're only salting it right before you smoke it, you are missing a key step to the perfect piece of meat. So, regardless of whatever holiday you celebrate this December, consider giving the rib roast a try. It will not disappoint you, and you will have a ton of new friends. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give me a like, give me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, get up, go out, cook some good food, be a little bit better tomorrow than you were today, and I will catch you in the new year.